I'm trying to be healthy. I'm trying this juice. It has like kale and celery and apples and all types of healthy things, so I feel good. Before we start, I wanted to show off my shirt here. You can't see the whole thing, but I will turn around. I'm not sure if it's backwards, but I'm wearing my Mbasla shirt today because in about 2 months, Mbasla will be having their national convention, and Mbasla is the National Black Association for Speech, Language, and Hearing. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. I just happen to have the shirt on, and I was like, hey, I can, just give a little bit of information about Mbasla. So I'm going to link their website down below, but every April they have their national convention, which is amazing. It's always fun. You learn so much, and you just make lifetime connections. If you haven't heard of it, like I said, check the website out. Read their history, what they're all about, the resources that they offer, and maybe sign up to be a member. So I think they have like professional memberships, associate memberships, and student memberships available. So check them out. I was like, hey, this is the perfect time to just give a little information. So most people have heard of ASHA, but I have not encountered a lot of people who are familiar with Mbasla. So just make sure to check them out. All right, so let's jump right into the video. So I guess the most obvious thing that I have to say is that graduate school is more difficult than undergrad. And it should be. Like, you shouldn't be in grad school thinking, wow, this is a breeze. I mean, I guess that's a good thing, but you should be challenged at some point. I feel like challenge is good. So the way that graduate school works is that typically your first maybe 2 semesters are spent taking classes and typically seeing patients or clients on site of your university. At least that's how it was for my university. So the first 2 semesters I was taking maybe 2 classes a semester, and also I was given 1 client the first semester, 2 clients the second semester. So it's very slow compared to real world speech language pathology, but it helps to build you up to that point. So my first semester I was seeing a pretty easy case, an artic kid, so just kind of working on some L's and some CH's. And it sounds easy, but honestly it was very difficult for me to transition into having that book smart, so like knowing about speech, different disorders, the anatomy of the articulators and the oral cavity, all of that, and putting that to clinical practice, so actually treating a human. It is very different, and I think that's something that while we think it's going to be easy for us because we have that book smart. And so for some people it does come easy, but for me I felt very awkward in my first couple of sessions. I almost felt robotic, and I was like, let's make the L sound. Can you put your tongue up? So I felt, like I said, very robotic. The good thing is that I had a really great supervisor who gave me the feedback that I needed, like the real honest feedback that I needed to become a better clinician. But I will say, just as you're preparing for that first semester, think, and be okay with the fact that it may be difficult to transition from knowing all of these different things about speech to being able to put that to clinical use and treating your client. So it's okay if it's hard at first, but just keep working at it. The more exposure you have to clients, the easier it gets, obviously. So my second semester, I felt definitely more confident. It's okay to be nervous. Ask your supervisor questions, do research, read articles, anything that you can do to prepare yourself. And just like I said, acknowledge and appreciate the journey from becoming a student with all this knowledge to a clinician with all the knowledge, because it is a great journey. Another thing to expect in graduate school is that transition from writing papers like in undergrad for your history class, or I don't know, whatever classes you were taking, and transitioning that to writing clinically. So before I give more information on that, I wanted to show you guys this book. So I'll bring it in. But this book was very helpful for me in graduate school as far as writing my clinical reports. I think we did like a progress report and like an end of semester report. And this book gives you like an example of every type of report you could ever write for any disorder. And what I also like is that it explains some of the disorders. Again, I definitely recommend this. I don't remember how much this was, but I'm pretty sure I got it off of Amazon and it wasn't too expensive. But it is an investment. Definitely, I would say purchase that book if you're about to start graduate school, or even if you're in graduate school, to help build that gap between like writing for leisure and clinical writing. That's one of the areas you will be graded in, or graded on. Even like when you do your off-campus placements. So along with doing on-campus placements, we do off-campus placements, and this is where it's considered to be like an internship. It's pretty much a full-time job. So both of mine, I was working 8 or 9 hours a day unless I had class, Monday through Friday. And what you do, you pretty much take over your supervisor's caseload. So for example, my first off-campus internship was at a private practice. The first couple days, like, my supervisor warmed me up. She let me, just interact with all the patients. But I would say by week 2 and 3, that caseload was mine, girl. Like, I was treating everybody. Of course, she was there to help and just offer suggestions and feedback, but it is a job. And that's honestly when you start to blossom as a clinician, because it's not just one client or two. It's maybe seeing 10 a day or 8 a day or 6 a day, back to back to back. So you're having to be flexible, learn that flexibility as a clinician. You're writing notes, so being able to, manage your time as far as seeing the clients, writing your notes. All of those types of things are learned in your off-campus placement. So that to me is actually really exciting too. I was very excited to transition to doing my off-campus placements because I really wanted to feel like a therapist. I wanted to get that back-to-back experience with my clients. And it sounds weird, but kind of like feel that pressure and that stress, because I feel like, honestly, like I said, that's what really molds you into a real-world speech pathology. But from Clinic 1, so from your first semester to your very last day of graduate school, appreciate that entire journey. It is very stressful. I'm not going to sugarcoat. It was stressful. For me, I was working also my first 2 semesters on the weekends, and I wouldn't recommend that unless you absolutely have to. I was very overwhelmed. So if you do have to work, maybe trying something like babysitting or just something that's low pressure, and then going from there. Something else to expect in graduate school is, like I think I mentioned this earlier, is time management. So you may have to miss out on some fun things, maybe some parties or some events to study, and that's okay. So the sacrifice of graduate school is knowing that when you graduate, you will be in a field that's in high demand. You will be skilled, you will know how to do therapy, you'll know how to interact and care for your patients, and that's invaluable. Like, you have to understand that you're going to have to sacrifice some things in graduate school to get to where you want to be. And knowing that after graduation, you can reward yourself with a trip to Puerto Rico, like I did. And it was very much worth it. So just knowing that there is some sacrifice involved, it is stressful, it's difficult, but it is a very exciting time. But you just have to enjoy it. You have to enjoy the journey. But if you watch this video and say, I want to know a little bit more about graduate school, can you maybe talk about this? Or if you just have specific questions, feel free to write them down below. On my Instagram at Speak From The Heart. I'm not too active on Facebook anymore, so typically Instagram is my primary social media account, but any questions, you can feel free to message me there. Also, I will be at MBASLA this year in April 4th through the 7th, I believe it is, in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I'm hoping that any of you who are watching this actually do check out their website and their information and maybe sign up to go to the convention. It's really fun, and it's in Charlotte, so Charlotte's a really nice city to just explore as well. So I hope this video gave you a little bit of information about what to expect. Very brief, very general, I know, but I'm always open to diving deeper into any topics. Just let me know and I will do that. Again, subscribe to my channel. Also click the notification bell so that way you're informed whenever I post a new video, and I will see you guys in my